The characters and events depicted in this podcast is for mere entertainment. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or going through their third surgery is purely coincidental. Listen at your own risk. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Somos the Next Generation. And welcome back, or actually welcome to the third and final installment of my trilogy, of my firsts trilogy. You know, I kind of made it a complicated name. You know, I added an S to the word first, so it kind of sounds like too much wording in a phrase. First trilogy. I don't know why I named it, and I should have just titled it differently. But anyways, welcome to this third and final installment of that trilogy. And before I get started, I just want to let you guys know that we are just a couple episodes away from our winter finale. Which will be aired in about 2 weeks. It'll be It'll be aired on Wednesday, December 29. So that's going to conclude this first part of the season. And, as per every season, I normally try to take some time off. Not try to go on hiatus, because going on hiatus is going, just completely off the air, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'll be working on other things, and I will, I'm trying to take this time off just to regenerate, to recharge, and, come up with new episodes to record, And as every season, I normally always say, I always throw my boohoo, my pity party, and say I may not come back. But I always end up coming back for some reason. Somebody pisses me off, and I try to come back. But anyways, so yes, we will be returning. The show will be returning in spring, sometime, late February, early March, perhaps mid-March. I haven't really dated it correctly yet. But anyways, I'm not going to speak too much into it. I'm not going to talk too much into it because I will hold off that conversation for 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I will talk about it in our winter finale. So I will wait for that then. So as I always say, I try to mention my drink. Today's beer is Chavela. Just try to do something chill. And I did write some notes down just so I don't go all, off tangent and just, blabber and blabber and blabber until I, make up time. Like when you're trying to write an essay, you're just, typing whatever and like retyping some things with a different name, and you look up a thesaurus just to use a different name, a different word for the to make up the word count that your teacher is asking for. Anyway, yeah. So today I did create some notes just to try and go off on that. But anyway, I'm blabbering now. So like I said, welcome to this episode, which is titled First Times. This will connect to the previous 2 episodes that are already aired. The first impression and the first date. They were all connected, and it will kind of like do an entire closure of that trilogy. So let's see. So today, I will talk about first times in general. Of course, I feel like some people refer to the term of first times as sex, or related to sex, to having sex, but it doesn't necessarily need to mean that. It can mean, first times for other things, the first time you meet somebody, the first time you go on a date, the first impression, things like that. This is why I kind of broke it down into 3 categories and, went little by little. Because I could have just done all 3, or I could have just done first times in general. But, how boring would that be? I wanted to create content, so here I am. So, let's talk about first times, Like I said, first times can mean the first time you meet with somebody, how awkward that is, and how nerve-wracking it is. I will generalize the term first time to like the first meeting, the first date, first kiss, up to the time where you have, the sex for the first time with a person. Let's see. I think whether you're looking for a relationship or just simply just casual sex, it can be very, very interesting, very awkward. At least just kind of like know when to go for it. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. So I think I'm gonna give a bit of a backstory here. Maybe give some perspective and some personal experiences. So when I decided to give in to what I was feeling sexually, um, feeling gay, this was probably when I was 16. So what I did was, as you you have to be over 18 to sign up for dating apps and things like that. But nobody ever checks. You just at the time you would just create an email and like you would just put yes, I'm 22, and the dating app would be like, good, okay, you're in. So at the time I did pretend to be 22, and I couldn't just put 21 because that would just make it obvious that I'm not old enough to be on this. I was 16. So 21 would just be a little too obvious, so 22 would work, right? Anyways, so I got on this app. Well, actually, it wasn't even an app at the time. This was a decade ago, a little over a decade ago. So I think apps were just a little different back there. There were, websites and things like that. So, I was talking to a guy, and yeah, he was super nice and things like that. It was super weird at first. It was kind of odd to be chatting with some guy who was he was a little older, just a teeny bit older than me, almost 3 times. But I do remember that at some point, um, I kind of felt bad. Or probably not bad, but it kind of felt like this was just whatever I was doing was not correct. So, what I decided to do was to just let the guy know, and I confessed to the guy, like, hey, just guess why? I'm 16. So, weirdly, and, every time I think about it, the guy was like, oh, okay, cool. So, I decided to, delete the account, the profile, just go away from that for a little bit, because it was starting off to get a little weird. Well, not weird. Like, I mean, I don't want to get much into detail because I don't like to share too much about me, or maybe I'll share it in a different episode or something. But I won't get much into it. Anyway, I did feel about weird. I felt weird about the entire thing, and I kind of made it seem like, hey, I'm not old enough for this, and I don't want to go for it. Like, yeah. So the guy was like, you know what, it's all good, no worries. We'll just chat, we'll just be friends, and he said he'll wait. Of course, you're very naive at the time. You're very young, so you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, he did wait. I returned. I returned to home. I returned home 2 years later. Well, actually, no. It's not like I left. Obviously, 2 years later, I graduated high school, went to San Jose, and I went back. So I decided to meet the guy, and it was the first time. It was my first time having sex, I guess, overall, in general. So nobody ever teaches anybody about sex. Obviously in high school there's the class, there's life science, and they teach you if you have sex you get pregnant, or if you have sex you'll get a disease or something or whatever, so don't have sex. That's all they teach you, but they never teach. I mean, of course, if they teach the act, it would just be considered porn or something. I don't know. Um, so anyways, I met up with the guy. Um, I had no idea. I had no clue what to do. Um, I mean, I had some idea, but it was kind of awkward at first, and I was very nervous. I was super nervous, and I think that's normal. I think it's normal to be nervous for your first time, and it was something. I felt super. It threw me off. Okay, it threw me off. I felt super weird. I felt kind of dirty for some weird way. I remember kind of like leaving, and it's like, okay, I gotta go back. But I felt so like wrong. Like this was not right. I don't know. I It was a time where I was still confused and closeted or whatever, and this just added to it, and it was like, no, no, you know what? I just proved it. I'm not gay. But anyway, that was my first time having sex in general, and it's weird. Obviously, for me, and within the peers, within the culture, for some reason, it's kind of important to have to lose your virginity. I don't know why. I don't know why it has to be important to have sex, and it makes it cool for some reason. Like you've seen in in movies and like series, TV series on TV, that somebody's said, oh yes, yeah, I had sex already, I'm not a virgin anymore, and it's like, ooh, you know, good for you, yay. And then for the people who have not, oh, what a loser, you can't hang out with us, you're a freaking virgin, you're like some nasty virgin or something. I don't know. For some reason, it has always been important. Maybe because I was a loner and I was very into my own world, I guess, or like I never realized that problem within my peers in high school, perhaps even in middle school. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if people get horny during middle school. I don't know if that's a thing. But high school, I think that's where things start getting heated. But I never heard stories about people. So I know it's seen in culture and like TV and movies, like I mentioned, how you know they they have sex and this and that, and they lost their virginity and how important it is. Like the movie Easy A, they're in high school, whatever, and Olive, well, she's like, oh yeah, I had sex with this college guy. So, but she was pretending to be because she kind of felt pressured by her friend, and her friend found out. She was like, oh my god, you have to tell me all about it, like what happened and this and that. And it's like, oh yeah, yeah, it happened. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're such a slut now. But I feel like that might be the reason why it becomes so important to lose your virginity. Like, why is it important to have a first time? Because you get pressured, you get peer pressured by the people around you, by your so-called friends, and it's like it shouldn't be that way. It should not be like that. You have sex whenever you want. It doesn't have to be because everybody else is doing it. You have to do it too. So it's like no, it's like I guess it's like drugs. If everybody's doing it, why would you do it? Like that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But anyway, first times can be weird, and not just like the first time ever having sex. The first time you have sex with somebody, like if you go meet somebody from a dating app, like it's gonna be the first time you hook up with the person, and it can be weird. Again, if you're looking for like a relationship type of thing or just casual sex, it depends how it's gonna come off. When you have sex with somebody that you thought you might have some sort of relationship in the future, and it's like, this is not working out, or it's not gonna work out. Like, I've got to go and never come back. Um, Anyways, I ran out of my notes, so right now I'm just blabbering as usual, as per usual. I always try to type as much as possible, and somehow it ends up being like 5 minutes. But then again, I'm not trying to blabber for too long. Remember the time span and the focus span of people is very short, so this is why I make these episodes as short as possible. But anyway, so the first time cannot just be about sex. The first time you kiss somebody, the first time you meet somebody, the first time you date somebody, the first time you go on a trip with somebody. The first times are very important, or at least for a romantic, for someone who's romantic or something and likes to remember those things. The first time you guys met, the first time you guys went out, the first time you had a burrito together, or the first time you went on a trip, or the first time you went for drinks. I think first times can be very important, and obviously it depends on the person. But this episode, I think I've mentioned the word first about 100 times, and also the word times. So I'm gonna stop there. Anyway, this episode is supposed to conclude my trilogy and kind of connected both previous episodes that I had already recorded. It's supposed to just tie it together, and I think it did better than my last trilogy. The last trilogy, the way I concluded it was a little bit off, but it's only because I had an idea, but I didn't really think much into it. Didn't really expand the idea, and kind of just went off with whatever I had in my head and whatever I typed up real quick when I was riding the bus. So, and maybe this occasion is almost the same thing, but I think I am able, or was able, to express a little more in regards the topic and how it relates to the first two, and how it relates to a lot of things in general. Maybe a little spin-off that I'll come up with for next week or something. But yeah, again, I'm not trying to go off too long with this topic. I just wanted to give a general idea of what it means and how it means, or how important it is in people's culture, in our culture, how important it is to have sex for the first time, and how important, and how like people see it as, damn, you're cool, whoa. I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. I've been kind of like, whatever. I had sex when I was 18. I wasn't really like trying to have sex. It's just, I guess sex just happens. But then again, I was a loner. Anyway, I think I'm gonna tie this up already. I'm gonna set it down before I keep blabbering, because again, like I said, my notes are over. They're done. But yeah, so guys, as you know, we are approaching the winter finale. We are just 2 episodes away from the conclusion of this first part of our third season. So I want to appreciate everybody who has been listening to me and listening to Daniel for this season. Thanks for keeping up with me, and for listening, and for watching our videos, for liking it, for sharing it, for everything. As I always mention, and I will always mention, this podcast is going to continue until the day I decide it's not fun for me anymore. Until then, the podcast will continue, and we'll be back. So for now, I'll wrap up this episode. I will see you guys next week, and remember to check out the first 2 episodes of this. If you haven't seen it yet, to check out the first 2 episodes so you can kind of understand this episode, so you don't just jump into one of my stories. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to me, and I shall be back. Bye.